He's gonna go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's ceremony. Please find your seat. Throughout the ceremony, cues to stand or be seated will be given. Military guests in uniform should stand at attention for the national anthem, while civilian guests may place their hand over their heart during the national anthem. Please silence all cellular phones at this time, and the ceremony will begin shortly. Good afternoon. In keeping with one of the oldest traditions in military service, today we will pay special tribute to Col Stacy Walser on the occasion of his retirement from 27 years of distinguished service in the United States Air Force. The presiding officer for today's ceremony is Colonel Aaron W. Carl, Senior Material Leader and Chief of the Aerospace Vehicle Division, Sentinel Program Office, Air Force Nuclear Weapons Center. Please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the singing of the national anthem by Master Sergeant Jared Graham and invocation by Chaplain Justin Wong.
Stand by. Go. That's up. Right shoulder off. Go. Cut. Forward. Off.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
I invite you to pray. Mighty God, we thank you for this afternoon and for this occasion, a chance to honor and salute an outstanding leader and servant among us, Col Stacy Walser. We give you thanks not only for those gathered here, but on behalf of his family, friends, and those who have served with him over the past 27 years of dedicated service to our nation. As he transitions from active duty to active retirement, we ask that you continue to bless Col Walser in his civilian life as he has so richly blessed those with whom he has served. May these days of transition overflow with good memories and contribute to the warm and satisfying sense of closure to a truly distinguished career of our beloved leader and servant. May he come to a deep satisfaction of a job well done, and may your blessings and joy be upon him. His wife Kim, his children Ryan and Sarah, his beloved family members and close friends present here today. Bless our gathering this afternoon and on the celebration following this ceremony. These things we ask in your most holy name, we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Wong and Master Sergeant Graham. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. We are honored to introduce Colonel Walser's family members in attendance today. His wife, Kim, his daughter, Sarah, and son, Ryan, who are unable to join us today. His father and mother, Stacy Walser Jr. and Renee Walser. His mother-in-law, Helene Botus. His sister-in-law, Sherry Botus. And his father-in-law, Paul Botus. A special welcome is also extended to Colonel Charles Clegg, Director of the Sentinel Systems Directorate, and his wife, Mrs. Candace Clegg, and to all the Sentinel family and all other friends and co-workers here today. Thank you for joining us for this momentous occasion. It is my pleasure to welcome Colonel Carl for remarks.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all so much for being here today. I want to extend a special thank you, especially to the family members, Stacy's family members that came out, especially for this. It's a huge, momentous milestone in his career. Obviously, 27 years. It's a really long time. It's like a 30-year life or something like that, if I've done my Sentinel math right. No, it's very, very meaningful to have you out here, just because I think we all know, but it's good for us to hear this kind of over and over again, that we never get to a place where Stacy's at today by himself. It's the family that raised him, that adopted him, that has been kind of with him for the last 22 years. I know your kiddos are kind of killed that they can't be here for this. I've got two wonderful kids of my own, and then two other ones, and so I know the sacrifice that comes with being a military family member, and all of the moves and all of the starting overs, learning new places and new cultures, and it does wear on you, and it is a sacrifice for you to have come this far. 27 years is a long time to do that. To recognize the role that you've had in Stacy's life and in his career. I mean, I thank you personally for that. And again, thank you to everybody for joining us here and for joining us online as well. That was Sergeant Graham, that was a beautiful rendition wherever you went. Beautiful rendition of the anthem. Thank you for that. Chaplain Wong, thank you for the prayer, beautiful prayer. Very well done. And thanks again also to the team that kind of put this together. There's a lot hours and rehearsals, and even though when I mess up, that's just my part, right? But that doesn't mean we actually didn't rehearse, right? So there was a lot of work that kind of goes into putting something like this together. Thank you. Right, it was, so you get it. Yeah. So, thanks, Colonel Clegg, Candace, Jackie. Thank you for being here too. I have to avoid looking at Jackie the entire time. She's gonna mess me up. She was crying when we sat down. That's a terrible sign. So, Stacy was pretty clear. He didn't want me to read through all of his OPRs. That was my plan. He only has like 27 of them. I mean, it only would have taken about an hour and a half, and it's just the cleanest way to get through everything. But he didn't want me to do that. But I would be remiss if I didn't at least touch on kind of the breadth of his career. I am going to give a little bit of a synopsis. I mean, he's done a lot of things in 27 years, and he has not done just kind of one thing consistently. He's done a lot of different things, and so what that means is he's just a very well-rounded officer, kind of perfect for the roles that he's been chosen. But he hasn't followed a typical career path that you might see for an acquisition expert or an operator. He's done kind of a little bit of everything. So he's been a space operator. Started off as a space operator in Cavalier, North Dakota, which was he was probably thinking space was going to be a lot better than missiles right off the bat, and he got Cavalier, North Dakota, and that I think quickly proved him a little bit wrong. But interestingly enough, in a missile warning squadron, so I mean that's a little bit of a foreshadowing of his entire career, kind of bringing him full circle to what he's been doing for the last 4 years. He was just on the defensive side before, and now he was doing offense, right? So being missile warning, and then now, of course, with ground-based strategic deterrent and Sentinel, being on the offensive side. So he's done space operations. He transitioned over to missile operations, where he was a missileer at F.E. Warren, and not only an operator in that sense, but then he also kind of rose to be an instructor and an evaluator. And so for those of us who may not be quite as familiar with that world, those are fairly prestigious roles that they don't just kind of give anybody. You have to really be a proven performer in your work to move on to be an instructor, and then to be an evaluator, where you're training the individuals who are coming in to replace you, and then you're evaluating those individuals, and you decide whether or not they are thumbs up or thumbs down for actually being able to be a missileer and sit in the silo and kind of protect the country the way he did. So they need strong leaders and proven performers in those roles. And he transitioned away from operations after that to Eglin, where he did a whole bunch of things. Kind of got steeped in the acquisition world a little bit more. So he was an engineer out there, and a tester, and a systems engineer, and a program manager, and did all kinds of just all kinds of acquisition work at Eglin, and a really fun job there. I think probably there's few places that most folks want to go than the west side of Florida on the Gulf, but so might have been a little bit better than Cavalier, just a step up, and also did his time at the Pentagon too. So what I understand, Sarah said he paid the government's bills. Is how what she used to tell people that her daddy did when he was balancing the budget so just a really well-rounded kind of an acquisition genius once he got to that point. And so again, space operator, missile operator, acquisition expert. He's graduated significant educational programs with the Air Force at the Air Force Academy, the Navy at Naval Postgraduate School, and the Army with the Army War College. So it doesn't get a whole lot more joint than that. I suppose you could have done some stuff with the Marines along the way, but I don't know. He's all brains. He might not. Well, you probably can't color as well as they can. But very, very, very joint individual. Also, that's a highly sought after skill, and he's got 3 master's degrees. He's got all of the acquisition professional certifications you can kind of imagine. So I mean, you just kind of get this picture of somebody who's kind of done it all, and the things that he's done, he's just really excelled at, and just a fantastic performer all along the way. And then of course he caps it off with his assignment here for the last 4 years, where he's led a team of over 700 people when you include the military and the civilians and the contractors, doing systems engineering on a program that's, at least last I heard, was maybe 100 billion or so, and it's now. Again, that's that Sentinel. That's that Sentinel math. That's the Sentinel math. So, and again, that's not a role that they just kind of drop anybody into. That's a significant leadership role, integrating what I think everybody kind of agrees is sort of the top priority national program for our country right now, and that's a very, very big deal. He's done it for 4 years, and he's done it really, really well. So that's not me reading your OPRs. I figured what I would do instead maybe is I try to focus on what I think of Stacy Walser. I kind of think of 3 words, right? 3 words. I like his reaction. I'm going to string this out like a little bit. All right.
I'm nervous.
Yeah. The first word is humble. That doesn't sound right. No, that's a different speech. I'm sorry. First word's not. That doesn't apply. No, the first word's not humble. The first word that comes to my mind when I think of Stacy Walser is fearless. So you guys may not know this, but at the Air Force Academy, our mascot is called the Bird. And Stacy was the Bird at the Air Force Academy, right? And just to give you a little bit of context here, like less than 10% of Air Force officers kind of go on to become colonel, but 0.1% of Academy cadets get to be the Bird. And it's not like it is nowadays where they got 7 or 8 of them. He was it. Is that right? Like it was you and maybe one other.
There was 2 of us. Yes.
Okay. So that's a lot of work. There's home games, away games, and so that kind of leads me into my my first word for him, which is fearless. So this actually, when I learned that about him, it sort of connected a lot of dots for me. It made some things make sense. I think there's some skills that sort of play into being a good bird, and I think the first one, like you have to have a pretty big head, right? Like you gotta really fill the studio space up there. You can't have that thing rattling around. So you check that box. He's got that. But you've got to be pretty mentally and physically strong and agile, which I know it's hard to imagine now, right? But he thinks he still is. Right? He gets himself in. Don't worry about that. But yeah. So you've got to be really physically and mentally strong and you got to have stamina. You got to be committed. I mean, he was all over the place. I mean, he went everywhere with the team. You did interviews, like he had to do a bunch of stuff above and beyond what we just saw on the field. So that was kind of a full-time job on top of what he was already doing at the academy. But I think maybe more than anything, you have to be fearless. Like you have to be able to put on the suit, kind of set yourself aside for a little bit, and perform in front of thousands and thousands of people, and kind of unite them all under this single mission of we're going to destroy our enemies, we're going to protect our house. You got to be fearless to do that. It doesn't, like, you can't just be anybody and put on a bird suit and and be convincing with it, right? And be convincing with it. So starts off at the very beginning, I think, setting a tone for what I think is maybe a good descriptor for his entire career. And I actually saw that word going through. Okay, so I'm not going to read his OPRs, but I actually did read them all. Just trying to get a sense of I know who he is, and I know who he is now, but to get a sense of how long he's been that way. And it's the whole time. It's the whole time, right? It's the whole time. I can almost see just his bosses kind of typing it out like, yeah, he's a good one. I hate it that he's right all the time and that he is quite so fearless, but he's one of the good ones that we got to keep promoting. But the word fearless shows up not just once, right? And it's accompanied by other words too. There's gutsy, courageous, daring. Those are all descriptors in his performance evaluations from the beginning until now. And so, what that tells me, that just paints me a picture of somebody who does whatever it takes to get the mission done. And that doesn't mean that you just sort of throw the book away, but it means you take risks. Like you understand the book well enough to where you know where you can take risks and where the smart risks are, and you are not afraid to kind of put it on the line to take those risks for the mission and for your people. So I think that's a very good thing. I think that's something that the Air Force and the military just needs more of, and that's something that we're gonna miss when Colonel Walser retires. I think the second word for me is authentic. And I roll a lot of things up into that, but first, he speaks his mind. Does anybody disagree with that, by the way? So, yeah, I don't know if he's always kind of been this way. I mean, he is a direct individual. You were raised a very direct individual, but what you see is what you get. It's not that he's direct with his people, and then he's somebody else when he's around his bosses or generals. It's the same guy. He is just direct. Yep, I'm getting some validation.
You only got a few phone calls.
Got some phone calls. He's very direct, but at the same time, that authenticity translates into how he treats people too. So he's not going to treat Colonel Clegg any differently than he's going to treat somebody that works 2 or 3 layers under him, or the janitor for that matter. He extends the same level of respect across the board, no matter who you are. He's going to treat you the same way. And I think his folks who are here or online can probably all agree that that's true, that they know that when he says, hey, prioritize your families, prioritize yourselves, and when he says that he cares about his people, he actually, I mean, he means that, right? You run across leaders and people aren't stupid. They know when someone's just giving them lip service, and they're like, well, you know, of course family is the priority, but it's how they live that either validates that statement or it doesn't. And I think everybody that I know that worked for Stacy would agree that he is that person. He is somebody that they could trust, that they could come into his office, the door was always open, he was going to listen to them, and when he said something, he meant it. And I think that's another extremely good quality that is not as common, I think, in today's leaders as one would hope. And that brings me to the third word that I would think of for Stacy, which is committed. You can take that a couple different ways. Yeah. I'm sure there's times when he probably felt like he was committed to some kind of an institution. Or maybe wanted to be. Would be a better place. But I think that commitment, again, going all the way back to the example of him being the bird, that commitment is something that I've seen and appreciated in Stacy from the very beginning. Just committed to the mission and committed to his people. And I witnessed firsthand more than one occasion when he would back up one of his folks. He would have your back, even if he disagreed with you. But if it was a fight that involved one of his people, he was defending his people, and so he was committed to you all, even when you may not have seen that. But it happened again. That was on more than one occasion, and I also, kind of witnessed. Over the last few months in particular, he's always been committed. He's always working. I've never known Stacy to not always, and I'm sure that you probably got sick of him bringing work home, at least the sense of the work home, right? It's a burden that he just sort of never really shed. But working all of the time, and in particular over the last few months, I've seen him really struggle, just kind of agonize over leaving his team and taking this step and leaving the program, because we know who has to pick up the slack for one thing. No, that's he always bore the burden of his responsibility, probably like more than most folks I saw, and he really agonized over am I leaving this in a good enough shape to pass along to kind of the generation after me. And we had talks about that. We had Stacy and Kim over for some drinks and some long discussions on that topic, and I mean he's kind of come around, I think, but it took him a while, but it's because of that deep-seated commitment that he's got to his people and to the mission, this really important mission. So it's true, we are, the Air Force really is kind of losing a fantastic leader, and I think everybody knows it. But I want to leave you with 3 thoughts too. So we've got three words I think that describe him pretty well: fearless and authentic and committed. But I'll just leave you with 3 thoughts. I think the first one is that those attributes are part of who you are. They don't leave you. That you don't hang those up along with your uniform. You're gonna take those with you wherever you go, and so continue to be that leader, because wherever you are, like, we need that wherever you're gonna be. And I think the country needs that, and your family needs that and appreciates that in you, and so continue to lead in that same way. And the second thought I would have is to be proud of your 27 years. That is a really long time. And when people thank you for your service, it's okay to say you're welcome. You don't have to shy away from a statement like that after 27 years. I think that sometimes we have a tendency to maybe downplay that service a little bit, but it's been honorable, and you have been dedicated to your craft. It's been a significant part of your lives. It's been all of your adult life, and it's something to be proud of. And the third thing I will leave you with is that you and your family will always be a part of the Air Force family. That doesn't ever go away. So that's another thing to remember. Yes, you get to hang up the uniform, but you've been in for too long. So you are always a part of this Air Force family. And I mean, adopted member of the Space Force family too. On behalf of the Space Force, I hereby adopt and retire you from the Space Force as well. I tried moving him over to the brighter side of life. I mean, he's got the experience for it, but
Comes with more commitment.
came with some more commitment. He was done with the commitment. Yeah. All right. So finally, I just want to thank you, Stacy, for first of all for the opportunity that you've given me to be up here and to kind of sing your praises a little bit and highlight some of your accomplishments and I think who you are, maybe a side of you that your family sort of rarely gets to see or doesn't get to see every day. So thank you for that opportunity. Thank you for your friendship and mentoring over the last few years. It has been absolutely fantastic getting to work with you. I couldn't imagine a better friend to have gone through this last several years with you. So can't wait to be right behind you on Saturday. So let's go ahead and retire him. If you're ready.
I'm not supposed to, but yes, get over here. We're between the flags.
Still mentoring me.
Thank you, Colonel Carl. At this time, Colonel Carl will present the Legion of Merit to Colonel Walser. Please stand for the medal presentation and remain standing for the reading of the retirement orders. Attention to orders. Citation to accompany the award of the Legion of Merit to Colonel Stacy E. Walser. Colonel Stacy E. Walser distinguished himself by exceptionally meritorious conduct in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as Senior Material Leader, Sentinel Systems Engineering and Integration Division, Sentinel Systems Directorate, Air Force Nuclear Weapons Center, Air Force Material Command, Hill Air Force Base, Utah, from 15 July 2020 to 31 July 2024. In this important assignment, the leadership, exemplary foresight, and ceaseless efforts consistently demonstrated by Colonel Walser resulted in significant contributions to the effectiveness and success of the $96 billion Sentinel program, the next generation replacement for the Minuteman III intercontinental ballistic missile weapon system. Colonel Walser set the systems engineering foundation for the life of the Sentinel weapon system by crafting 38 technical directorate processes, tailoring 32 technical compliance documents, orchestrating the critical design review process, forming an integration team to eliminate stockpiping, and establishing governance for how Sentinel uses model-based systems engineering. Colonel Walser embedded his technical workforce with the prime contractor to tackle technical problems and strengthen the relationship. He mapped the nuclear certification, safety accreditation, and cybersecurity accreditation processes for Sentinel, allowing the government's certification schedule to align with contractor activities and identification of any gaps. He led a major update to Sentinel's system-level requirements, resulting in a 5-year and $1 billion in savings. Colonel Walser led many one-of-a-kind activities aimed at protecting Sentinel information and supply chain to ensure the United States continues to have a strategic advantage over its adversaries. Colonel Walser successfully led the systems engineering efforts for the largest, most complex Air Force program. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Colonel Walser culminate in a distinguished career in the service of his country and reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force.
I'll give you a hug. Bye-bye.
Please remain standing as Colonel Carl retires Colonel Walser.
Published order.
Department of the Air Force, Washington, District of Columbia, Special Order Number Alpha Lima 000928, dated 31 July 2024. By the order of the Secretary of the Air Force, Col Stacy E. Walser is retired from active duty effective 1 August 2024 after 27 years of faithful and honorable duty.
Now you can move.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Colonel Carl will now present the Certificate of Appreciation from the President of the United States. The certificate reads, Certificate of Appreciation for Service in the Armed Forces of the United States of America. I extend my personal gratitude and the sincere appreciation of a grateful nation to you for your patriotic service to our country. Your bravery and dedication in our armed forces helped protect your fellow Americans during a critical moment in our history and contributed to a world of greater security and growing prosperity. Your devotion to duty, honor, and country, in keeping with the long traditions of the finest military in the world, embodied the American ideal of selfless service. Our nation owes you an incredible debt. Your commitment and the example you set will inspire future generations to serve with pride and to keep our country secure. You represent the best of our nation, and I join our fellow Americans in saluting your honorable service. I wish you happiness and success in your next chapter. Signed, Joseph R. Biden, Jr., Commander-in-Chief. I would like to invite Kim to come forward for the presentation of the Air Force Retirement Pin. please place the pin on your spouse's left lapel. This pin is to be worn with pride. It signifies to everyone that you have served your country well and honorably. Now, I would like to present the spouse certificate of appreciation from the United States Air Force Chief of Staff. The certificate reads, "In grateful appreciation, the United States Air Force presents this certificate of recognition to Mrs. Kimberly B. Walser for the commitment and numerous contributions that made positive impacts to the nation's defense. Thank you for the support which gave strength and purpose to your spouse's service. Signed, General David W. Allen, Chief of Staff, United States Air Force."
There's a copy of the spec on the back.
Now, in honor of Sarah and Ryan, Colonel Carl will now present certificates of appreciation on behalf of Major General John P. Newberry, Commander, Air Force Nuclear Weapons Center. The certificate reads, "To all who shall see these presents, greetings. This is to certify that Ryan and Sarah, on the occasion of your father's retirement for honorable service with the United States Air Force, has earned grateful recognition for your unselfish, faithful, and devoted service during your father's Air Force career. Your unfailing support and understanding make possible your father's lasting contribution to the nation. Your growth and maturity have made Col Stacy Walser a proud father and given him inspiration to serve his nation with integrity and honor. Given on the first day of August, 2024, signed, Major General John P. Newberry, Commander, Air Force Nuclear Weapons." Next, Lieutenant Colonel Pierce will do a division presentation on behalf of the Sentinel Systems Engineering Division.
Oh, wow. Hey, sir.
This is a surprise.
So 27 years is a long time. And as you go throughout your career, you collect little things in each assignment. You know, you have mementos and just things that remind you what you did. And so we were able to work with Kim and get just a small portion of those things and try and display them in a way that hopefully you'll enjoy looking at in the years to come. Yeah, we've got your contrails in there from your freshman year at the academy. We couldn't leave out the bird, so
Excellent.
and I think there might even be something in there from your time dealing with Elon Musk. But so anyways, we just wanted to give you just a small token, let you know that we appreciate your service. We've appreciated your leadership, and obviously we're going to miss you, and we wish you all the best in your retirement. And so Sam's still working on this a little bit, and he's gonna make it safe for you to actually hold.
I'm not allowed to touch it. Got it.
But thank you, sir, and congratulations.
That's very cool. Very cool. Thank you. That's very cool.
Next, we would like to do a presentation for Colonel Walser's retirement flag. A person's military career is woven into the very material that composes our nation's flag, each career step and assignment becoming another thread of the red, white, and blue. It is this concept that traditionally ties the flag presentation with the completion of a military career. The Hill Air Force Base Honor Guard will perform a flag folding ceremony in honor of Colonel Walser. For more than 200 years, the American flag has been the symbol of our nation's unity, as well as a source of pride and inspiration for millions of citizens. Born on July 14, 1777, the Second Continental Congress determined that the flag of the United States be 13 stripes, alternating between 7 red and 6 white, and that the Union be 13 stars, white in a blue field, representing a new constellation. Between 1777 and 1960, the shape and design of the flag evolved into the flag presented before you today. The 13 horizontal stripes represent the original 13 colonies, while the stars represent the 50 states of the Union. The colors of the flag are symbolic as well. Red symbolizes hardiness and valor. White signifies purity and innocence. And blue represents vigilance, perseverance, and justice. Traditionally, a symbol of liberty, the American flag has carried the message of freedom and inspired Americans both at home and abroad. In 1814, Francis Scott Key was so moved at seeing the stars and stripes waving after the British shelling of Baltimore's Fort McHenry that he wrote the words to the Star-Spangled Banner. In 1892, the flag inspired Francis Bellamy to write the Pledge of Allegiance in our most famous flag salute and patriotic oath. In July 1969, the American flag was flown in space when Neil Armstrong planted it on the surface of the moon. Today, our flag flies on constellations of the Air Force satellites that circle our globe, and the fin flash of our aircraft in harm's way in every corner of the world. Indeed, it flies in the heart of every airman who served our great nation. The sun never sets on our U.S. Air Force, nor the flag we so proudly cherish. Since 1776, no generation of Americans has been spared the responsibility of defending freedom. Today's airmen remain committed to preserving the freedom that others won for us for generations to come. By displaying the flag and giving it a distinctive fold, we show respect to the flag and express our gratitude to those individuals who fought and continue to fight for freedom, at home and abroad. Since the dawn of the 20th century, airmen have proudly flown the flag in every major conflict, on land and in skies around the world. It is their responsibility, our responsibility, to continue to protect and preserve the rights, privileges, and freedoms that we as Americans enjoy today. The United States flag represents who we are. It stands for the freedom we all share and the pride and patriotism we feel for our country. We cherish its legacy as a beacon of hope to one and all. Long may it wave. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce Colonel Stacy E. Walser, United States Air Force, retired.
Come over here. Wow, you know, I've been to a lot of these, and it's just weird to be on this side. But actually, y'all thought you were actually here for retirement. Psych! What I'd actually like to do now is we're going to talk, I'm going to be the mediator the next hour for, we're going to talk disconnects, OCR change. What else can we talk about? So let's get started. Part of me actually wishes that was somewhat true, because as Aaron said, it has been tough letting go and actually acknowledge that I actually am retiring. But hold on, something's not quite right yet. So I need my little blue bag, please. Take this off. Put this here. All right. Oh, I forgot to unbutton it. It's almost perfect, but there's no flip-flops, and that'd be really perfect. This will be a lot more comfortable. This was actually a gift from Kim and my kids. About the patches are all the places that I've been assigned to and stuff like that. So yeah, this is more comfortable. So first, I want to thank everybody for coming. I know it does take a lot out of your day, especially on Sentinel, to give up this time to come be with me. It really does mean a lot having you all here. Aaron, thank you for officiating today. That was great. I don't know. I'm doing his Saturday. I got some polishing up, I think, to do. Maybe I'll steal some of your ideas. Yeah, they can't have the bird. Maybe some Hans might show up. We'll see. You are really the perfect person to help me see me out the door. For those that didn't know, we actually did try to have this the same day, and we just swapped places. But family couldn't sync up both our my 9 and his 30. But that's okay. I really it's been great having you as a friend, and really getting to know you, Lindsay, and your family over these last 3 years, and just helping me through my entire senior material leader tour. Mel, Beth, Kay, thank y'all, because if it wasn't for them, there probably wouldn't be a ceremony. I was not wanting to have one, so Mom, you can thank Kay and Beth. Mel's not here, but thank them. Those 3 very strong-willed ladies really convinced me to do this, and I'm very glad you did. For everybody, this is a big production to put on, and it does take a lot of work. So Sam, thank you. Annalise, Vince for helping with the cake. Katie for helping with proffing. Cap Mesa, Lieutenant Suggs, Captain Rice, just for helping set up and getting allowing some friends and family that couldn't make it out here get to be part of the ceremony today. And then again, just everyone, thank you for coming. I wrote this speech, I don't know how many times. Didn't like what I said, tore it up. In fact, the latest rendition was at probably about 5:30 this morning, when I just I didn't like it. Either sounded too preachy or whatever. On what life lessons I was going to pass on. One was way too inappropriate. And then this morning I was I'm just going to talk from my heart and just really thinking back of I really have enjoyed my Air Force career. It's been amazing. I can't believe that it really did start, 27 years active, but 31 years ago when you talk about entering the academy. It was in June there. I just turned 18. no idea what I was getting myself into, but I wanted to go to the academy ever since I was in second grade. You know, so that was early 80s. Shuttle had just started going up. I'm like, I'm going to be an astronaut. All those remember probably one of the greatest movies ever, Iron Eagle. I'm like, that's going to be me. And so, the academy was where I wanted to go. Remember when I got notified, I was working at, I was at my high school, and Mom brought the announcement to me, and she couldn't have been more proud. But I could, you know, it's now that I have my son going to college, I really understand the mixed emotions you must have had of just pure excitement and heartbreak at the same time. Just love you all so much for that support that y'all gave me. So let's skip ahead on that. So my family, we're not a military family. I lived in the same house. Parents still live in the same house that I was born in. They all moved there in '72. So it was like this was an entirely new experience for us. I remember getting there the night before, the morning of, that the bus would come pick us up at the hotels before they brought us to the academy, and I called Mom and Dad just crying. I was bawling. Like, what did I get myself into? I'm like, I'm from a small town in North Carolina. This is like, what did I do? But they calmed me down. They talked me off the ledge, gave me the support I needed, and off I've gone off in this adventure. 31 years later. Met the love of my life. I have 2 great kids and countless friends and millions of crazy memories along the way. It's been a great ride. The best part of my career, though, is y'all. It's the people I've met. Not necessarily the jobs I've done, but it's the people and the friends that I've met along the way. Y'all have figured out every job I've ever been to, just the people have figured out how to get the job done. No matter what was thrown at us, we've persevered through tough times, celebrated the good times together. And that's the most cherished memory that I have from my Air Force career. It was Mom and Dad showing up at every promotion, every assignment, even Cavalier, North Dakota. For those that don't know, Cavalier, North Dakota is an air station that's 10 miles from the Canadian border. It's got 30 military. The town is about, the town that it's in is about 100 people. Forks is like 90 miles south. Minot is still south of Cavalier. But yeah, showing up there, it was my classmates, my close friends working hard at the academy just to survive and making the most fun that we could. Either all my friends at choir, cheer practice, the Bird, that was an awesome experience, I admit. Hanging out with the sponsor families there and just each other and enjoying the time that we could there. It was the adventure and exploring every new location that my family went to or I went to, getting to know the area and the people, the locals, and just tasting new foods, tasting just a bit of the areas of each new assignment. It was meeting Kim, the love of my life. It was becoming a dad, watching Ryan and Sarah grow. They're actually at school right now. They scheduled the awards the same day, and Sarah Awesome's getting a top award for history or social science in her grade, and Ryan's getting to experience a lot of things that as the seniors for her first time. So I didn't want them to miss that. But it was spending time with them everywhere we went, watching them grow. Ryan's great. Like I said, he's getting ready to head off to college. And some of my favorite memories are he and I building Estes rocket models together, spending hours doing that, and then going to launch them. We'd get the whole neighborhood involved, and hopefully track it down. We lost several. We did one for his science fair where we loaded it with model clay to see how weight affected it. We're lucky we didn't catch the parade ground on fire. It didn't go anywhere. It was watching Sarah. She's just an amazing kid, strong-willed as ever. Maybe some of that directness she might have got from me. She export horseback rider. She's jumping 3 feet, wants to get to 3.6, and entrepreneur. She's got her own horse street business that she just she thrives at. And as Aaron said, she did. What he didn't tell you about the story of Sarah was that she actually wrote an essay at her elementary school and won based off of me paying the bills for the Air Force. Yeah. I'd like that paycheck, man. It's been becoming part of Kim's family. Y'all have made me a fan of Disney cruises. I'm glad to it. I'll admit that openly. I've enjoyed every one we've taken and spent together on those. I think there's really maybe only one time I've maybe annoyed you, Helene. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Just once. And I think I annoyed my mom with this as well. So when we were at Eglin, all these hurricanes were coming through, and I kept running around saying, hope is not a strategy. Hope is not a strategy. I think I said it so much, both of them wanted to choke me. I forget, I don't even remember where I heard it from, but it was, yeah. So yes, I admit maybe that was a little short-sighted. Hope is not a strategy, or hope is not, yeah, it is not a strategy, but it is essential. And we need to work to make that hope a reality. So hope that doesn't drive you too nuts. My Sentinel family. This has been one of the most memorable assignments that I've had out of my career. Command and Launch Brethren. While our relationship was very short-lived, I only got to work with y'all about 3 or 4 months before Jason moved me over to system engineering. We did a lot, and I enjoyed that time. We made a patch. I have a habit of making patches and then moving organizations. I stuck Kyle Gorder as the lead engineer, so you can either thank me or be mad at me for that. But he's doing a good job, a great job there. And we actually, at that point, really started challenging a lot of the TMRR assumptions that we had, those early design assumptions to figure out better ways to do things. You know, we really did tackle those problems and had a lot of fun while doing it, in all honesty. Kay and Chris, my system engineering team, I'm in shock at just how much responsibility and work that you guys are responsible for and get done. I love the frank discussions that we had on how to deal with the resources that we had and the workload to get things done. Truly, it's been one of the best leadership teams with Kay, Chris, the branch chiefs, Esther, that I've worked with. We would come together and just figure out how to solve problems, get things done. Thank you. My elite team, and I'm glad to hear that elite has taken. Oh, he's gone. All right. Oh, he's on the phone. That's when he comes back. All right. So elite stands for engineering, logistics, intelligence, test, enterprise. So the NXE is going to grow, and so all those work efforts coming through. I mean, it's been one of the smoothest, from my side, organizational changes that I've ever seen. The team, before the rest of everybody else was ready for it, we came together and we're executing very smoothly under the new operating model. Elite, remember it. I didn't design that patch though. My BOD and ELT members. Y'all made GPIs fun. You made sync meetings fun, believe it or not. And we could come together, talk about things in very direct manners, and not hold it against each other and have fun while doing it. and figure out some sort of restorative activities that we could do to make sure that we didn't go nuts. But it was an amazing team of just, again, no matter what was thrown at us, we figured out how to overcome it and move forward. My Circle of Trust Village team, thank you for all the venting, the bourbon, and the snacks. That's all I'm going to say about that. My Northrop Grumman friends, it's been a pleasure working with y'all over Sentinel, and all the industry folks that I've worked through past assignments, ULA, even SpaceX. We've not always agreed, but we all both want what's best for the nation. You know, without y'all, we would not have the capabilities to defend our country. So thank you for your help and being part of my career as well. I will miss working with Bill, Billy, Jeff, Todd, Mitch, and Gary on solving the technical issues of Sentinel. We really, whenever it got down to it, we would get together and solve a way to get technically sound on the design. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention some really key people that have influenced my career. Colonel retired Chris Coombs, a great friend and mentor of mine. We met back at Eglin. He started out as my boss, became a really close friend and mentor. And thank you for all your guidance. For all of you really dealing with, you thought I was crazy here. We turned his office into a beach to include sand and water. I think a palm tree might have been involved as well. But for all of those that have wondered why I have such a big affinity towards lunch, and if you schedule meetings at lunch hour, there's a special place in hell for you, is because of him. When I first came to his office, I didn't know anybody. It was new, so I'd grab my lunch, go down to the pond and eat my lunch there, and he's like, "You eat your lunch in your car by yourself?" He's like, "We're going to lunch." Well, that was the beginning of my lunch obsession. So everywhere I go, I now try to get people together just to go to lunch and get a break from work and have that time for camaraderie. So thank you, Chris. Major General, retired Robert Chedester, Ched Bob, God rest his soul. He was the PEO of weapons at Eglin when I was there, and he always had time. He was the first general that I read everybody. You talk about open door policy and stuff. He spent a lot of time with his staff and just individually as well, teaching us important lessons of how to hold standards and patience. One of the biggest things I learned from him was it doesn't matter how many times people ask questions. Be glad they're asking questions, and just keep answering it, keep driving home, and just never be upset when people are asking questions, even if it's the same one over and over. He also had a walnut on his desk, split in two, and I'm like, why do you have a walnut on your desk? And he's like, well, do you know how a squirrel opens this walnut? And I'm like, no. He is from Arkansas. He was a good country boy. He's like, a squirrel can just use this put his teeth in this one little point and split the nut. He's like, the lesson of that is no matter how hard a problem is to crack, there's at least a point that you can easily solve it. Mom and Dad, my sister Laura, thank you for showing me what good work ethic looks like, and always have fun. We had a great time growing up in childhood, and I appreciate that. And thanks for just supporting me. Helene, Paul, and Sherry, thank you for treating me as your own son and a brother. Brother, there was a pause. And bringing me into the Disney fold. Yeah. Kim and Ryan and Sarah, for being my core family, knowing that it didn't matter where we were, just as long as we were together. All right, I think I've talked long enough, but every time I've been in front of a group like this, there's been some sort of oath. So I feel like I need to have an oath of retirement. So here goes. I, Stacy Edward Walser, having been appointed a retiree in the United States Air Force, do solemnly swear that I will support all retiree activities with zest. I will patiently wait my turn at the pharmacy and gym. I will mosey while shopping at the commissary and BX during peak hours because I secretly enjoy irritating active duty while ignoring the uniform have priority signs. But most importantly, I will spend time with Kim and Ryan and Sarah with no distractions, but not so much time that I drive them nuts. So help me God. All right, Air Force song.
In keeping with Air Force tradition, we will conclude today's ceremony with the playing of the Air Force song. While it is customary for military members to stand, we invite all of our guests to join us in standing for the Air Force song and the departure of the official party and distinguished guests.
We didn't rehearse this
These are not for Kim. I have a better present for her. Thank you. These are for you. I give you a hug to you. Oops, sorry, Dad. Didn't mean to step on your toes. Oh, I guess it was your purse, or was it your toe? All right. And then she doesn't want flowers. She wants chocolate chip cookies and a Diet Coke. All right, now we can do the Air Force song.
Now please stand for the Air Force song. The men and women of the United States Air Force are proud to have served with Colonel Walser and assure him that he will always be a valuable member of the Air Force. We wish him and his family every success in their future endeavors. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony.